What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. Earlier today, we had a multiple different presidential executive orders passed by Joe Biden. This now makes, on the 3 days of his presidency, over 25 different presidential executive orders. The ones today focused on stimulus, getting money for families, money for food for families, SNAP increases, WIC increases, getting you your stimulus money faster, all sorts of different things. We're going to dive deeper into that, and as well as the impeachment, which may or may not delay the future stimulus. We'll have to see. And the funny thing is, we have two different impeachments now. We have the impeachment of President Donald Trump, and then we have this Republican House of Representatives, Marjorie Greene, who has filed impeachment on President Joe Biden already for, quote, abuse of power. So, yeah, we actually have two different impeachments processes going on right now. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future updates and related news. And give this video a like. It really helps out our channel. All right, let's jump right into it because we have multiple things to talk about. Number one, Democrats are floating using the 14th Amendment to bar former President Donald Trump from taking office again, to try to basically prevent him from being able to run for president in 2024. Democrats are mulling whether they can use the 14th Amendment to prevent former President Trump from ever holding office again. The discussions are in the early stages, and top members of the Senate caucus aren't yet convinced it's a viable remedy. But senators are exploring their options as they plot a strategy after Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. Quote, "It's an idea that's out there that I think people are contemplating in the accountability space," said Senator Tim Kaine, a Democrat from Virginia, who described himself as, quote, "quite confident that Congress could act under the constitutional amendment," saying, "I just want us to choose a path that maximizes focus on the Biden-Harris agenda." A member of the Senate Judiciary Committee says, quote, "The remedies of the 14th Amendment certainly may be appropriate for someone who incites an insurrection as Donald Trump did." Now, this comes as President Joe Biden signals that he's willing to push the impeachment trial in the Senate of President Donald Trump well into February so that they can focus on his new administration and passing multiple different stimulus packages and provisions and executive orders that came out today, so that the Senate doesn't have to worry about this impeachment and we can focus on stimulus. President Joe Biden says, "I do think that having some time to get our administration up and running, the more time we have to get up and running and meet these crises, the better." However, Democrats from the House and the Senate, separately from Joe Biden, are saying that they are going to send the impeachment articles that have already passed the House of Representatives over to the Senate on Monday. And then the Senate has to start proceedings on that within 24 hours. So yeah, we're definitely getting some mixed signals on this, and if this is going to go to the Senate next week, and if it's going to delay anything, or if they'll be able to work on stimulus and the impeachment at the same time. By the way, have you seen this picture of Bernie Sanders at the inauguration ceremony? This thing is going viral. They're kind of cropping this out and putting pictures of him basically everywhere, and it's just kind of taking over the internet by storm. He looks absolutely hilarious there, and yeah, obviously he will be a big picture of going forward with stimulus packages, as he's now the Senate Budget Chairman, and him and Vice President Kamala Harris are the main two people that have pushed in the past for $2,000 per month stimulus packages. And while now that they're Vice President and Senate Budget Chairman, they actually have more power. They're in more power now, and that makes the possibility of stimulus checks after this third one, which is expected to be between $1,400 and $2,000, much higher and much longer. The possibility of monthly stimulus checks actually becomes a real possibility now, that basically the Democrats have taken control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris are the main two people that have pushed for these $2,000 per month stimulus checks. Also, we have another round of presidential executive orders that basically focused on stimulus, getting stimulus checks out faster, increased food stamps, and all sorts of different things here that happened earlier today. In my last video and the 3 o'clock video, I basically showed you the presidential executive orders, the press release directly from the White House on these presidential executive orders that were passed by Joe Biden today. One of these executive orders passed today was to get the stimulus checks out to people who haven't gotten them faster, and possibly for future stimulus checks also, for up to 8 million people, possibly more. And let me show you this interesting part here. The IRS launched an online non-filers tool by which individuals could submit their personal information in order to receive the money. It was simpler than a tax return for a lot of people that don't file tax returns. At the same time, the government also launched a media campaign and sent letters to 9 million people to let them know they qualified for checks. So the interesting thing here is I wonder if they're going to be reopening the IRS non-filer tool, which is right here, and it currently says it's closed, but I wonder if one of these executive orders today is going to reopen this. A lot of people who haven't gotten their second stimulus check, the $600 one, are worried that they're going to have to file a tax return to get it, which is going to delay it possibly by weeks or months. And a lot of people have been saying to me in the comments that they don't file a tax return, so yeah, they don't want to have to do that. Just briefly, if you don't file a tax return and you end up having to, first of all, you can't do it yet. They're not even available to file your tax return online for 2020 yet. Okay. What you just do is go to Google and you type in file a simple tax return and skip all these ads here. And you'll see the first one here says IRS free file, do your federal taxes for free. So you're going to click on that, go to the official IRS website, do this through Google, and it'll take you right to this page. And you can basically, if your income's below 72,000, you can do this. If it's above 72,000, you can do this option. But basically, you can do an online tax return if you end up having to file a tax return to get your second stimulus check, or in the future, third stimulus check. You can do this right on the IRS. You don't have to pay somebody to do it. I've been getting a lot of questions like that. I have to pay hundreds of dollars to do my tax return, and I don't normally do a tax return. You don't have to do this. So this will save you hundreds of dollars if you're one of those people that are thinking that or have commented that. You can just do this by the IRS and just Google file a free tax return right here directly on the IRS's website. Now, really, all these different executive orders, we're basically still trying to weed through them from today. I will be having more information for you guys at the 11 p.m. video, but let's kind of go over more of what we know so far. Number one, more details are coming in from the ones from like yesterday or the day before that Biden has paused federally backed student loan payments and interest all the way to September 30th. So if you have federally backed student loans, you will not have to pay them all the way through September, and there will be no extra interest accrued. So this could likely save you from paying thousands of dollars in student loans, and interest will no longer accrue. I will be keeping you updated on this as well as everything else. Also, Biden has extended the eviction ban and the foreclosure moratorium going forward. The actions seek to extend the CDC's federal moratorium on eviction for non-payment of rent by 2 more months. The CDC's first order went into effect in September and will now go into the end of March. And he has also asked the Department of VA, Veterans Affairs. When he says asked, this is through an executive order. So it's basically saying that he's issued the order to do it. Okay, a lot of people are questioning about that. He asked, but he's the president. He's basically saying, hey, do this. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. To extend the foreclosure moratorium on federally backed mortgages until March 31st also. He asked these agencies to accept applications for forbearance for federally guaranteed mortgages until this time as well, which means you will be have an application to not even have to pay your mortgage if you have a federally backed mortgage. So that could help you out extensively. Also, even if you're not in risk of eviction, you can possibly have to not pay your mortgage if it's federally backed because of these new presidential executive orders for several months. And honestly, they may extend these even further going down the road. Call your mortgage company if you have a mortgage and ask them if you can do mortgage forbearance, which basically means you just don't have to pay your rent, or I should say your mortgage payment for the time being, and you will not accrue any interest also. Call them up and ask is the best way to do it. If you're in the risk of eviction, then you need to go to the CDC. Just Google CDC eviction form. You need to fill out a form and give it to your landlord. And then you also should do some research on your specific state because you may need to make partial payments to kind of have that affect that order that you give to your landlord to kind of make that binding. Okay, some additional information here on executive orders that are out today. To tell the Agriculture Department, again, this is another way of saying he asked them, which basically means he's instructing them to do this. Administer the food stamps program to increase benefits available to families who are normally reliant on school meals by 15%. This is for SNAP and WIC. Here's SNAP right here. Expand access to SNAP, lifting the food stamps of some of the poorest by about 15%. So this is they're increasing the amount and they're also expanding the eligibility for the EBT program and the SNAP program and the WIC program. So if you have those, you'll be getting more money through those. In addition to, if you don't have them and you think you might be eligible, go and apply now or within the next few days as they're expanding the eligibility for this. And this is basically programs where the government will give you hundreds of dollars every month to give you money to pay for food. We also have the expanding of worker benefits. We've seen the hazard pay clause, and he wants to make all federal contractors that do business with the federal government have to have a $15 minimum wage. This is kind of like the first phase in of the $15 minimum wage. Joe Biden can do that through an executive order because it's basically anybody that does business with the government. To do business with the government, they have to pay at least $15 minimum wage to anybody that's basically working through the government as a contractor. And I believe this order is also for all government agencies to implement a $15 minimum wage also, along with sick pay, which is a form of hazard pay. And we're expecting more going forward also. Also, as part of these orders, President Joe Biden is revoking 3 executive orders from former President Donald Trump that sets restrictions on federal employees' collective bargaining power when negotiating their contracts and curbed other worker protections. And honestly, this is why I don't lean left or lean right. I'm pretty much in the middle. Sometimes I'll agree with one or the other side. But generally, like when you see a stimulus package passed, there's always things that's like a person like me from the middle will agree with and disagree with. And this is why I don't always agree with Republicans. Or I don't always agree with Democrats. I consider myself a realist. On any given stimulus package, when you see these come out, there's always kind of things I'm like, ooh, that one shouldn't probably be in there. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And that's just kind of how I think. So I always report to you guys the good and the bad going forward. And I try not to be biased. I try to just give you guys the information so that you can kind of get all the information in a quick video, say a 10, 15-minute video without having to spend hours and hours of time going through this. And honestly, a lot of you guys tell me this is kind of like your news for the day. It's much better than watching the actual news station, which, can go on for hours. And yeah, I bring you guys the breaking news every single day. So make sure you're subscribed if you haven't yet and share this video so others like you will know about these stimulus check programs. We're still expecting more details on the third stimulus check package, the actual large package. I believe we're still supposed to get some information on that today, maybe tomorrow, now that we had all these executive orders. If you haven't yet, please make sure you watch this top video. Click on this. It has much more information. I actually read line by line the presidential executive orders that went through today that are all regarding stimulus. So click on that if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video.